They're there in line because they've already paid. It's unbelievable. By the way, let me just ask you this while I have you here. Why is it that you charge different people different fees for carry-on bags? Why is that, Mr. Klein? Why isn't it just a flat fee? Why is it that I might get charged one fee, but my wife might get charged a different fee? Why is that?
Hello, viewers. You're welcome back to another episode of The American Enigma. If you are new on this channel, do well to smash that subscribe button to get more updates on uncensored analysis. Viewers, the Constitution is our compass, and we the people call the shots. Now let me ask you something. When's the last time you flew on a commercial airline and said to yourself, wow, that was a wonderful, respectful, all-American experience? Yeah, didn't think so, because let's face it, flying in America today feels more like surviving a boot camp run by Soviet bureaucrats than exercising your God-given freedom to travel. You're nickel and dimed, barked at by overzealous gate agents, herded like cattle, and treated like a criminal if your toddler sneezes. So sit back and listen carefully.
Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Can we just come back to this bounty issue, Mr. Schroeder, Mr. Klein? Because I have to say I didn't understand your answers. I thought you said to the chairman earlier that you did say in your opening statement that there was a lot of misinformation about this out there, Mr. Schroeder, and I thought you said, Mr. Klein, that you don't charge bounties. So can we just clear this up once and for all? We're all here, we're all under oath. So, Mr. Schroeder, let's start with you. Do you charge a bounty? Do you pay employees bounties on carry-on bags to identify them?
Well,
That's a yes or no.
I wouldn't characterize it as a bounty.
Do you charge them, do you pay your employees a fee? Do you incentivize them to go pick out bags from people getting on planes and kick them off the flight? Just yes or no?
We charge them an incentive.
Okay, that's a yes. Mr. Klein?
We do not, Senator Hawley.
You don't pay your employees to do that?
We have previously, sir, but we actually suspended that on September 30th of this year. And now in order to be able to treat all of our guests fairly and equitably, we've actually just put more staff and supervisors out at the gate area. And they're the ones that are still making sure that everyone's treated fairly and equitably, which is the point behind these kinds of programs. But we have removed that program as of September 30th.
Oh, interesting. So let's come back to you, though, Mr. Schroeder. So how much have you paid your gate agents to enforce your carry-on bag policy, to pick people out of the line like the chairman's video showed? I mean, you guys do appreciate that flying on your airlines is a disaster, don't you? I'm slightly amazed by the general attitude of all of you here. Flying on your airlines is horrible. It's a terrible experience. I mean, I say this as a father of 3 young children, but I can't tell you, nobody enjoys flying on your airlines. It's a disaster. You charge people fees that they know nothing about. You harass them to death. I'll never forget, Mr. Johnson, during COVID, when an attendant on your airline threatened my wife because our then 5-year-old son, his mask had slipped. This is back when we all had to wear those ridiculous masks. His mask had slipped below his nose. This flight attendant came up to my wife and said, if she didn't keep that mask over his nose at all points on this 4-hour flight, she would personally see that my wife was banned from flying. This has happened over and over to families. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And your attitude here today seems to be, well, devil may care. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, I think we are going to do something about it. So how much have you paid people to pull out customers who are in line with a bag that's 2 centimeters too big, Mr. Schroeder?
Well, we recognize this is a hard job, and so therefore we incentivize them to do that.
How much?
It's $10 per bag.
Wow. $10 per bag. And I think, Mr. Klein, you and Mr. Schroeder, your airlines cumulatively have spent $26 million paying gate agents between 2022 and 2023 to catch passengers whose bags are a little bit too big. $26 million. I mean, if people want to know why it's such a terrible experience to fly, this is news for them today. Your airlines are paying millions of dollars to your employees to harass people who've already paid. They're there in line because they've already paid. It's unbelievable. By the way, let me just ask you this while I have you here. Why is it that you charge different people different fees for carry-on bags? Why is that, Mr. Klein? Why isn't it just a flat fee? Why is it that I might get charged one fee, but my wife might get charged a different fee? Why is that?
So overall, our job is to generate the most revenue we can so we can be profitable as an airline. If we're not profitable as actually we have costs, and there's costs out there, and we have to make sure that we're above the cost line in order to make sure that we can run a profitable entity.
Yeah,
and be able
I got
to
it.
grow.
No, I got it. I got it.
And-
Money's the answer. So last year, your carry-on bag fees ranged between $15 and $99. That's extraordinary. One person might pay 15, somebody else might pay 99. How do you determine it? Is it based on personal characteristics?
It's
you charge
never
women more?
It's never based on personal
You
characteristics.
charge minors more?
We do not, sir.
What, just people who are suckers? I mean, how do you do it?
Well, there is a cost to carry any kind of bag.
Yeah, but
So
why do
some
you
of the-
charge some people more? I understand the cost, and you made clear money's your bottom line. I get that, but why is it that you're charging some people what, triple, quadruple the amount?
Well, the length of the flight should matter in this as well. So
Yeah, but that's not the data. The data shows is we're talking about the same people on the same flight might get charged radically different prices for a one carry-on bag. You do the same thing for check bags. Why is that?
Right. So just for the record, the $99 charge has been reduced to $79 as a
that's a lot
maximum.
better.
And what ends up happening here is we want to make sure that we can get the best price to the best people at the right time.
The best people? Who would they be?
Sorry, let me rephrase. The right price.
Are those the people who, what? I mean, no, explain it to me. I'm interested. Who are the best people?
Well, that was the misstatement, sir. What we're trying to do is get the right price at the right time. And what that also means is making sure that if someone's on a flight that's now filling up, and we have a lot of, as we talked about, unbundled pricing.
And they get screwed? So like if you have the misfortune of having to book your flight at the end because maybe something's been canceled, then you're going to get screwed? Is that what you're telling me? You're not one of the best people.
Are you referencing just fares
I'm just responding to your testimony. I'm listening to you, and you just said as a flight's filling up, you're going to get charged more.
Not always. Sometimes you'll get charged less.
Exactly. Right. Sometimes. Right. But you'll never know, right? That's the beauty of it. It's like Russian roulette. Flying on the airline is,
I would disagree,
you have no idea in the world.
I would disagree.
Wait, no idea. You just said it.
It's very transparent.
We'll have it. Listen, there'll be a transcript generated, and I'll send it to you with a bow on it. You can read your own testimony just now. You have no idea what the fee is going to be ever. Mr. Schroeder, what about you? Your airline charges, sometimes it's $0 for a bag checked. Sometimes it's $99 for a bag checked. On a first, sorry, that's carry-on. Excuse me, carry-on. For check bag, it could go from $0 to $138. Who knows what it's going to be? Why do you vary it so much? Is that fair to the consumer?
So it depends again on routes, and so there's just demand around that.
No, but that's not true. We're talking about people on the same flights. Their prices may vary by huge astronomical percentages. Why is that?
Well, that happens on airfare as well, and
it does, and I want to talk about that next.
I'll explain the model and how we think about things. So increasing ancillary historically has brought the fare down, and I brought up earlier that nearly 50% of people are not paying for a bag or a seat. We are providing options that people are deciding whether they want that or not. That is increasing the ability for people to travel
listen,
and travel
my time is limited, and I know the chairman, Senator House, want to ask more questions. I just want to point out to you that you are charging people for the same thing, one checked bag or one carry-on bag on the same flight. People are paying wildly different prices for it. They have no idea what it's going to be. I think people will be amazed to learn today that if they fly on your airline or yours, Mr. Klein, heck, the guy next to him may be paying $15 for the carry-on bag, and they may be paying $80. Last thing, Mr. Chairman, I know you're indulging me. I'll be really quick on this, but Mr. Schroeder, you just mentioned that you also use this so-called dynamic pricing for seats, for seat fees. Why do you make people enter in their age and their geographic location and their gender before they can even see the cost of a seat? Why is that?
That's been in place since 2014.
Yeah, but why? It's because you're using those personal characteristics to generate the fees?
No, absolutely.
To generate the prices? Well, then why else do you require it? Mr. Klein, you do the same thing. Why is the gender relevant to what the seat is?
This is all information that's needed in order to complete the transaction.
No, it's not. Delta doesn't do it. United doesn't do it. You don't need somebody's gender in order to do it. You use it, clearly. You're using it to generate the prices, right?
We do not, sir.
It's not based on personal characteristics?
Not at all.
You don't use algorithms to set the price of seats?
That's a different question.
So you do use an algorithm, and you do make them enter all their personal information?
What's your definition of algorithm, sir?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, because algorithms al- algorithms are ways for people to be able to come up with calculations, which is a faster way. It's more efficient than a human being doing the same exact work. So, I'm trying to answer your question, sir, in all sincerity, and I don't know how else to answer it.
Thanks, Senator Hawley.
This week, Senator Josh Hawley, God bless him, finally brought the hammer down. He grilled these corporate tyrants like a ribeye on the 4th of July. And folks, it was a masterclass in righteous accountability. So today, we're going to break down every last second of Hawley's testimony, call out the scam for what it is, and talk about how this disgusting alliance between corporate America and bureaucratic tyranny is strangling the working class. Let's start with what Senator Hawley called out first: bounties on your carry-on bags. That's right, these airlines were literally paying their employees $10 per bag to yank you out of line, to tell you your carry-on was a smidge too big, and to slap you with a surprise fee before you even boarded. $10 a bag. Over $26 million paid out to gate agents in just 2 years. Now I don't know about you, but when I hear the word bounty, I don't think of customer service. I think of dog the bounty hunter style raids. And that's exactly how they treat us, like criminals. They're turning employees into fee-fueled vigilantes, incentivizing them to go hunting for violations like TSA agents on a power trip. These people have no shame. They know your family's already paid. They know you're stuck. And yet they still ambush you at the gate with a tape measure and a smug grin. Why? Because it's profitable. Now let's talk about the second bombshell: dynamic pricing, or what I like to call corporate price gouging roulette. Senator Hawley exposed that passengers on the exact same flight are being charged anywhere from $15 to $99 for the same carry-on bag. One seat, one carry-on. That's it. But different prices and no explanation. Ask yourself, why? Well, the airlines say, oh, it's just supply and demand. It's about timing. But Hawley called them out. He said, wait a minute. 2 people, same flight, same time, and you're charging one $15 and the other $99. That's not capitalism. That's exploitation. That's using computer algorithms and consumer data to prey on whoever's most desperate, or most uninformed, or worst of all, just trying to get their family to grandma's for Christmas. If big tech did this with your groceries, we'd be in a nationwide revolt. But somehow the airlines get a pass? Now, Senator Hawley didn't stop at the money, he went personal. He talked about the time a flight attendant threatened to ban his wife from flying because their 5-year-old son's mask slipped under his nose during the pandemic. Let that sink in. A 5-year-old boy. His mask slips for a moment, and the airline threatens to blacklist his mother from flying. Folks, that wasn't about health. That was about control. That was the corporate state teaming up with government mandates to enforce obedience, even on children. That's the America they're building, where you get penalized for being human, for having a kid, for wanting to breathe, all while the elites sit maskless in first class sipping champagne. And here's the kicker. Hawley pointed out something that every American should be outraged about. Airlines are now requiring passengers to enter personal data, gender, age, location, before they even show you the price of your seat. Why? Because they're using it to manipulate the price. They denied it under oath, sure, but they couldn't explain why they needed it. Delta doesn't require it. United doesn't either. But these budget airlines? They're using it as inputs for their algorithms. They're not optimizing service, they're optimizing extraction. They're running us through computer programs like lab rats to figure out how much they can get away with charging us. It's profiling. And it's wrong. Here's the bigger issue. This isn't just about bags or seats or fees. It's about the fundamental betrayal of the American consumer. These airlines, backed by woke hedge funds, protected by corrupt regulators, and insulated by billion-dollar lobbies, treat the American people like livestock. They forgot who built this country. It wasn't bureaucrats or billionaires. It was hardworking families, blue-collar workers, moms juggling screaming toddlers in airports, and dads working overtime just to afford a flight to see their kids. And now, instead of gratitude, these airlines give us harassment, hidden fees, and humiliation. But you know what gives me hope? Josh Hawley. He stood up. He called them out. He said enough. He said what millions of Americans have felt in their gut every time they get told their seat costs $35 more because they're 6 feet 2 inches, or their backpack is 1 inch too thick. He said, we're going to do something about it. And we need to hold him to that. Because it's time we had lawmakers who fight for the common man, not the airline cartels, not the algorithm hustlers, not the ESG-pushing boardrooms. Viewers, if you're still with me, I want to go even deeper. Because what we just saw with Senator Hawley isn't just some isolated moment about airlines. This isn't just about baggage fees, pricing games, or rude gate agents. This is a symptom of a rotting system where the ruling class, the corporate elites, and the bureaucratic state are all working together to squeeze the American middle class into submission. Let's zoom out for a second. Think about it. You get punished for speaking your mind online. You get tracked for what you buy and where you go. You can't trust elections, the media, or even your kids' schools. And now you can't even fly across the country without being scanned, tracked, manipulated, and charged out the nose while being treated like you're the enemy. Folks, this isn't the America we grew up in. This is globalist corporate feudalism. They want you dependent, powerless, passive. They want you afraid to speak up when a gate agent humiliates your wife in front of your children. They want you confused when you get charged $99 for a bag and the person next to you gets $15. They want you to think that's just the way it is. But it's not. That's not freedom. That's not capitalism. That's not America. And it sure as hell isn't how our forefathers intended it to be. Let me tell you something. Ronald Reagan once said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." Well, guess what? We are that generation right now. And if we don't stand up in the airports, at the ballot box, in our communities, this system will keep collapsing. And they will keep replacing our God-given liberty with surveillance, price gouging, and corporate censorship. This is why the elites hate senators like Josh Hawley, because he reminds them that they serve us, not the other way around. Now ask yourself, if they're doing this at the airport gate, what's next? Will they start charging you different gas prices at the pump based on your zip code or gender? Will grocery stores use facial recognition to determine your customized checkout fee? Will insurance companies start jacking up your premiums based on who you voted for or what news you watch? Don't laugh. They've already got the tech. And the ESG-obsessed corporations have already shown they'll use it all, for control, for profit, and to silence anyone who doesn't fall in line. This fight isn't just about travel, it's about freedom. Let me say this loud and clear. This is the new class war. It's not about rich versus poor anymore. It's about the ruling elite versus the ruled. It's about corporate CEOs flying private jets, while telling your family your kid's backpack is too large. DC bureaucrats crafting rules they'll never have to follow. And globalist billionaires profiting while the American worker gets stuck in the TSA line wondering if they'll be able to afford a bag fee. We didn't vote for this. We didn't ask for this. And we sure as hell don't accept it. And yet the system pushes forward, every day, hoping we don't notice. Hoping we'll stay quiet. Hoping we'll just sit down, buckle up, and take it. But we're not going to sit down. Because we come from a nation that fought a revolution over a tax on tea. And today we've got a tax on dignity. A tax on families. A tax on being a decent, normal American. Well, guess what? We're done playing nice. It's time to demand transparent pricing. Demand customer dignity. Demand accountability from these bloated, arrogant airline execs who think they're above us. And it's time to support every leader who stands up, like Senator Hawley, and tells them enough. This is our country. We fly where we want. We speak how we want. We live how we want. Because we are Americans, not data points in some corporate spreadsheet. So here's what I'm asking you to do, my fellow patriots. Telephone receiver, call your senators. Tell them you support Senator Hawley's stand against corporate airline abuse. Megaphone, share this video with every traveler, every parent, every American who's been robbed blind by these predatory fees. Airplane, and next time you fly, ask questions. Demand answers. Film everything. Because these people only change when the light of truth hits them square in the face. This isn't just about flying. It's about reclaiming America for the people who built it. No more corporate tyranny. No more silence. No more abuse. This is our country. And we're taking it back, one flight, one fight, one truth at a time. See you on the next episode of The American Enigma. God bless you. God bless Senator Josh Hawley. And God bless the United States of America.